It is your Classic Metal Show right here on the ClassicMetalShow.com. That is something brand new from a band called The Loyal Order. And the name of the tune there is called Ready for Dead. And on the phone we have Jeff Buehner from The Loyal Order, and we bow to his greatness. Welcome to the Classic Metal Show there, Jeff.
How you doing, man?
We're good, man. Glad to have you on the show. I've been told a little bit about your band. I guess you're out there trying to make it and break it in this world of hard rock and metal. And as we all know, in this day and age, in the digital age anyway, and without a lot of support from any kind of record label or commercial support or, independent bands have a tough go at trying to make a name for themselves.
Yes, it is tough out there, and especially in today's climate. It's you kind of gotta independently get things moving and let the energy grow. And I've been really fortunate to have guys like Tom Hazart and David Ellison, helping us out too. So those guys are amazing. And, via their connects and their network and everything, and plugging into their expertise and talents and all the things that they have, man, it's just, they've been great for us.
Sure. Well, Jeff, you're a bassist and obviously, one of the things that, from what I understand, you haven't, tried your hand at was being a lead vocalist as well, but apparently in this project here, you've sort of branched out here to become a vocalist as well as the bassist and songwriter, and kind of like the whole one man band in a way, sort of like a Dave Mustaine kind of guy.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm actually not playing bass in The Loyal Order, though I tracked several of the songs on bass. But yeah, by trade, I've been a bass player for many, many years. And this project kind of came about by, I got called by a friend of mine, actually a friend of a friend, gave me a call and wanted me to write a song for, they needed a theme song for a reality hunting show. And they wanted it to be hard rock. And I said, I'm happy to do it. And so I called my guitarist, Brandon Cook, and I said, hey, man, I need a heavy riff. He's like, how fast? I said, as soon as possible. We're going to write a song for a theme song for a reality show. And a couple days later, he's like, I think I got the right thing, And we ended up writing this song called Off the Grid, Superhuman. And went in to track the music, just demo it out to see if the guy liked the direction we were going with it. And I wrote a bunch of lyrics, and I thought, well, I'll just go in and lay a scratch vocal track. And I did. And the producer was like, why don't you just do it? And I'm like, no, I mean, I got, I tried a few different singers. He's like, I don't think you should. That's awesome. And I'm like, really, huh? I'm like, well, okay, let's try it. So I did it, and it turned out pretty good. And ended up being the theme song. Our first song was on a reality show in the kind of the region it was a Comcast Trailblazer channel, and it aired for 2 seasons. So people were like, you should do that more. And lo and behold, we started tracking songs, and just a little bit at a time, and now we have an album put together, and we kind of sped up as the process moved along, because I was, still going, I don't know if I can do that, I mean, I can sing, but I didn't know I could be the front guy. And anyway, it turned out that that's what I'm doing, and I'm loving it. It's great. The response has been super good. I mean, things are going good at radio, too. So we've already got some stuff going on at Billboard, and it's cool. It's a great start.
Right. Well, what is your claim to fame where someone would call upon you to write a song? I mean, what is your background to where, you've got yourself a reputation to where someone could call on you to pen, some lyrics, or or a song for, for a TV show? Why are you known? How do people know you in that realm?
Well, I've been around the Pacific Northwest for, pretty much through my whole life. And a lot of people know what I do around here. And I've played with quite a few bands around here. Played bass with a band in the early 2000s with a band called the Dragonflies, and we had some really good success with college radio and had a song on a New Line Cinema movie called Sugar and Spice. And I kind of was instrumental in getting the song on the Trauma Records soundtrack for that. So that was pretty cool. I kind of made the deal happen. And then moved on. I was in a band called the Russian Brides for quite a while, and the recording of that and the writing helped a lot with that. Had some amazing writers in that band too. But this kind of came about through a guy named Anthony Gaynor, who shot a music video for the Russian Brides. And from there, he was friends with the person that was doing this other show. He said, "You should call Buehner and do this," And then I, of course, connected with all the producers around here and all the musicians that we would need for that. And that's just kind of how it happened.
Sure, absolutely. Now, being from the upper Northwest, I mean, obviously, one of the biggest claim to fame to that area as far as the music scene is concerned is the cliche Nirvana. But
yes,
but as so many people know, prior to Nirvana, they were rich in the music scene with bands like Heart, and obviously Queensryche was from there, and Black and Blue, and some of the more classic bands were from that area. Does it bother you at all that people go, "Oh yeah, Upper Northwest Nirvana," and that's the only thing they know?
It doesn't really bother me. It's nice to educate them a little bit on some of the the immense diversity that's come out of the Northwest. I mean, the grunge thing in Seattle was a movement all in and of itself. I mean, it was very much like the Sunset Strip days, like how they had that, all that music came out of Los Angeles at that time, and then boom, here comes the grunge era. And that just lit up like crazy. That happened overnight. I mean, I remember the first time I saw Nevermind, the video, and I was like, oh my God, wow, everything just changed tonight, And yeah, I mean, there's so much talent up here. It's ridiculous, and there's a lot of tribute scene around here, a lot of tribute bands. It's a big deal in this area. And but yeah, I mean, it's just rich with talent and songwriters, and it's Portland is kind of almost undiscovered in a lot of ways. With certain with the bigger bands.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as you said, the music scene up there is very rich. Can you, and this includes yourself, obviously, what is it about that area that is, highly motivative for musicians, in whether it's Seattle or Portland or just that whole region in itself? What is it about the whole music scene up there that kind of fosters that kind of a atmosphere?
That's a really good question. I think there's like in Seattle, a lot of the grunge stuff was kind of there's it was super cool and everything, but there was a lot of kind of a negative vibe coming off of it, and but I don't really know. It's I would just say more than anything, it's the culture, the climate affects everything, and the people that have found themselves growing up here or moved here, there's there's an kind of an artsy culture. You have that part of it. You have the tribute band culture. In the 80s, really had a strong impact here, and then in the 2000s, it kind of just almost disappeared when all the DJs came out and stuff. The scene died, and all the rock clubs turned into discos and not discos, but clubs, and a lot of DJ stuff was going on. And then suddenly it started to kind of reemerge, and everybody was like, hey, let's do this. When I was first here, there was a halfway decent original scene going on, and then that changed when all that happened. So I really don't know how to answer your question, except for just people's love for music is probably it more than anything else. I know the grunge scene really inspired the whole country and the world, actually. But in Portland, I think it kind of, when the grunge thing happened, Mother Love Bone was playing here, which became Pearl Jam. They would come down and play these little clubs around, and there was a band from Seattle called Dr. Unknown that all but just about made it through the door. And all those, Grunt Truck was Seattle band, and obviously Alice in Chains, Soundgarden. It just impacted the entire region in a great way,
Sure. Now, do you have an idea if there's why the correlation between the music scene up there and the heroin addiction? I mean, because
I would say that that kind of came out of the more Seattle than, well, actually there was a lot of it in Portland too. I think a lot of it was, some of it, there's not a lot. It rains a lot up here, and it's gray, and I think that impacts people, and it has, depression is a pretty strong thing. It's like where Cobain was from, Hoquiam, Aberdeen, it rains there like every day. If it doesn't rain, everybody's surprised, So I think there's that. And then the economy going up and down, and people get depressed, and, I think a lot of that, it comes in that door, and, people grow up in, shacks, and and it just kind of, I think it just kind of becomes that. But that's a great question too, man. It's there. It's an escape.
Yeah, I guess so. Now, we'll come back around to your project here, but I'm always curious about that environment up there as far as the, what spawned out of there. And we've talked about this on the Classic Metal Show, and since you touched on it about the whole grunge scene, whether it's Soundgarden or Pearl Jam or Nirvana or Stone Temple Pilots, all the main leaders of that whole grunge era, isn't it odd that every front man aside from Eddie Vedder wound up dead?
Dude, it's almost scary. It's scary. I mean, it's very strange, and it's very sad too. I mean, we're talking, Kurt Cobain was a change agent, man. I mean, he was like, he changed everything. Well, like I said, overnight. And Chris Cornell is, I mean, my God, that guy. I mean, where do you start with him, right? I mean, because he was just amazing in every way. And then what he moved on to do with, Audio Slave and all the stuff he did with those guys. And, yeah, I'm a huge, huge Cornell fan.
Well,
Lane Staley too. Can't forget him.
Yeah,
another just top shelf talent. And the heroin just kind of got into their culture, and they experimented with it, and it became a problem, a big problem.
Sure, absolutely. Now, when it comes to your career, as far as launching a band and trying to quote unquote make it in the music scene, what's left for a new band? What's left out there? I mean, because obviously the days of the big record deals are over. Most artists these days are self-financed, or if they do get some financing, it's usually on a very shoestring budget. The marketing is done through social media, which for the most part, aside from the time and effort, it really doesn't cost anything to go out on a Facebook or a Twitter or an Instagram or anything. What is it? What's in it in the end for an artist to go out there? I mean, is there any monetary gain or the hope for monetary gain by doing this, or does anybody do this anymore for more or less the passion or the love or an outlet to do something like this?
Well, first of all, I know that if I didn't play music, I'd be in sad shape. It's it's been the love of my life. I look at kids when I was pictures of me when I was a kid, and I had to have a guitar in my hand all the time. I didn't know why, but I grew up with my brothers, trying to play and finish songs, Johnny Cash song, Western stuff, country Western stuff. And but as far the entire industry has changed, obviously, and with the streaming and stuff like that, the money's different. But I think that's kind of taken a turn, and that's coming back a little bit. I think that the money's coming a little bit more there, but it's never really about the money. Do it for free until they have to pay you for it, right?
Right.
But I think, for example, our producer, his name is Rob Dacre. He's a producer for a band called Royal Bliss, the Dan Reed Network. He's done some good stuff, and he's an incredible musician and songwriter, and he's done a lot of his own independent stuff. He did a video called All for a Kiss, which is a kind of a ballady kind of 50s sounding thing with a really cool pop melody, and he's got a couple million views on his video that he put out. But guys like that, having guys like that, like back in the 80s and stuff like that, the producers, they made big money producing a record, especially if it had a name. And now with digital technology, pretty much anybody can record a record on their laptop, which we didn't do. We wanted to take it to another level, and sure, you scratch out song ideas on a laptop or whatever, but then you take it to a real producer like Rob or whoever. It could be, Rick Rubin. But you take that, and then if they take the project on, they put their life into it as well. And then even though the money's different, it doesn't cost as much to do what they used to do in a way. You can have a finished product sooner, and it's not pre-canned. It's not a pre-canned product that say a record label told you to be, sound like, told you to sound like, told you to be, told you to look a certain way. So artistic expression in a digital format, kind of in today's world, the cream kind of floats to the top.
Right.
And if it's good, people will listen. They will play it on the radio. I woke up today and I had a text from Tom Hazard, and he's just like blown away. Like, we're the number 4 most added band this week in active rock. And I just was like, wow, we're at my Trivium and Five Finger Death Punch and stuff like that, and I'm just blown away by that. And I think basically what's out there is, you have to look at music now, recorded music. Yeah, you get your streams and you get your downloads and the sales from that, and that can turn into, to be a financially rewarding situation. But the concert tickets and the T-shirts and all that, I always joke about, we're just selling T-shirts, because that's where a lot of the money comes from, right? If you can sell 1 million T-shirts, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
So, so you kind of have, it's just a different business model, I would say, than it used to be. You kind of can't look at the old model and say you can't make money with it. You just have to look at the model from a different angle. And so recorded music now is basically an advertisement, for a T-shirt or a concert ticket. And if somebody downloads it, great, somebody downloads your record, which ours is coming out very soon. I think we're going to do a pre-sale on the album next month, and it's all mastered and done now. So, that's kind of how I look at it. You can get what you can out of digital downloads and you know, like our video is, you can download our video on iTunes for Ready for Dead. I don't know if you've seen that. Have you seen it?
I have.
Yeah. So you can actually go on to iTunes and help a band out by downloading their video for a couple bucks. You know, do that 100,000 times. You know what I mean? It turns into money if you have the right approach and the right attitude about it.
Sure.
If you're trying to make people download stuff, they're not going to do it.
Right.
You know.
Right. Well,
it's all in the business model is all it is.
Sure it is. Well, you brought up a good point there about, how you approach it and the business model and whatnot. What makes a band today, a new band, an upstart, an unknown, what makes you rise to the top, as you put it? What separates you from the other, 100,000 bands out there who are putting their music out there on YouTube or on Spotify or distributing it through social media platforms? What causes someone to, say, pick your band out of all the many that they could possibly stumble across?
Well, I would say, first of all, it starts with the product. It has to be a sincere product. People smell sincerity and authenticity and good songwriting, and if you can formulate a song and musically paint a vibe for people to be in, and then lyrically invite them into the lyrics and have the song be about them somehow or some way, and have it become their song, so to speak, which is what I always strive for. I mean, I strive to connect, always. I don't strive to tell somebody what a song is. I strive to have them connect with the song. And if I've done that, I've had a good day at work. So I think it starts with the product more than anything. And once you have a good product and you network and you meet people in the industry that can fit into your format and have it make a difference, that's great. Like, I met Tom Hazard about 3 years ago. Just introduced myself, said hi to him. We had chatted for a few minutes, and we were at a Megadeth listening party to one of their new records. And, we chatted for a second, and then somehow I ran across him again, and then I reached out to him, and I said, hey, it was right when we had finished the single that you guys have been hearing called Ready for Dead. And I said, hey, man, I just did a video for this song. Would you at least take a look at it? And then we can talk business if you're interested. And he goes, sure. I sent it to him, and he got right back to me. He's like, hell yeah, let's talk. And so through EMP Label Group and working with Tom and David, they've, through their already established network of people in the business, they invited us in, and off we go. And that's kind of how it all happens, but it starts with a solid product, good, sincere songwriting, authenticity, great production. Got to have good production for the most part, unless you're going for a lo-fi type of thing, which is done well at times too. Whatever your production style happens to be and have that fit the songs that you're doing, that's everything, and then it just takes a little bit of having a business head and having some ingenuity and connections and putting the puzzle together.
Sure. Well, outside of this coronavirus pandemic that swept this country, it sounds as if you guys were probably poised to, get out there on the road and play this summer. But as we all know, that's kind of, put on hiatus for a little bit. What did you have in mind, or did you have any plans lined up for this summer as far as, getting on some kind of a package tour or, having some dates lined up or anything like that?
Yeah, obviously that definitely was the idea. I mean, I talked with some people at the NAMM show, I was with Tom down at the NAMM show, and I actually was playing with, I don't know if you know who Dulana is, the singer from South Africa that now lives in Holland. I did some stuff at the NAMM show with her. She's amazing. one of these greatest singers I've ever known, that's for sure. She was on Rockstar Supernova. I don't know if you remember that show.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, so I was playing with her, and then I ran into Tom. And I also play bass with Rough Cut, too. I don't know if you know that or not. But
I wasn't aware, but I know Paul Shortino, so.
Yeah, Paul's not in this version, though. It's David Alford, the drummer, and Chris from the original version.
Okay.
So, and so we put that together, and we're going to do some dates with those guys too. But as far as the Loyal Order goes, we were poised to do our album release here locally, and Tom and I were ideating on that very subject when all this hit, and we're like, we should probably just hit pause on this and focus on, really putting the music out there till we figure out what's going on here. But yeah, we were talking about doing that, and we were, figuring out which bands which dates we could play, what leg of what tour with some other people. And it didn't we were just in formulation phase when this all started. So.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's kind of a drag, but everybody's got to be healthy and stay safe and do all that stuff that they need to be doing right now. And so I've just been utilizing the time to, promote as much as I can with the radio and with our video and try to get some downloads moving and get feedback and see what it looks like and how well it's being received.
Sure, absolutely. Well, you got the time to do that, obviously, and everybody's kind of stuck at home looking for things to do, and probably the internet is their biggest friend or their biggest ally as far as filling time if they don't have anything going on a daily basis. So this is a perfect time to discover the Loyal Order.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, and you can find us on Facebook, The Loyal Order. You can find us on theloyalorder.com, and you can find our video and our single, Ready for Dead, on iTunes, and you can download it there. Just, play it, whatever you want to do, and just that's where we're at.
Right. Well, until this, pandemic goes by and things can start opening up and getting back to normal, what is your plan, once things you're able to get out there? What is your plan? I mean, do you plan on doing a lot of touring or just kind of like weekend stuff or just play, if and when the opportunity happens? Or do you have an idea of what you might be able to do once things start, getting back to normal?
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at winter now, right? I mean, by the time anybody feels really safe to go to a rock and roll show, it's going to be winter or spring. So, I mean, mapping that out in the near future is a very important thing. We did take a show in Portland, Oregon here. Do you remember the band Loudness?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're going to play with those guys, direct support with those guys at the Bossa Nova Ballroom in Portland, Oregon in November 13th, I believe it is. And, at that point, hopefully the sky will have parted a little bit for all of us and we'll have some things in the works at that time, I think it's an opportunity, I think it's an opportunity to get in there and, do some touring the Midwest in the dead of winter probably isn't the greatest of ideas, but up in the north, my family's from Minnesota, so I know. But yeah, so that's just getting connecting all the dots again, and getting the booking agent working on stuff as soon as we can see when the most probable time is that will be effective. So we're going to release our record over the summer, and we'll start working on it. We'll get the dates put together and find the right bands to work with. Bigger the better, right? And just go from there.
Sure, absolutely. All right. Well, if you're stuck at home and you don't have anything to do, why don't you jump online there and go check out the Loyal Order. They do have a music video out there on YouTube that you can go check them out. as well called Ready for Dead. And, looking forward to some more releases as the time grows closer, so we can hear some more of them. So who is one of your biggest musical influences, Jeff?
Oh, wow. I mean, singing wise, Chris Cornell, man, he's the way. And as far as bass players go, Steve Harris from Iron Maiden, love his playing, always have. And anybody from that realm, that really made a difference. Kurt Cobain, obviously.
Duff McKagan, he's from up in that area.
Yeah, Duff is amazing. Duff is a great bass player and guitar player.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he was a guitar player first. And also you can see our video on Facebook. It's got 207,000 views, I think, now on that platform. So it's done pretty well there. But once again, though, if you want to grab a video and download our video on iTunes, it's there too.
Sure, absolutely. All right, very cool, Jeff. Well, is there anything else you want to tell the Classic Metal Show fans?
I just appreciate each and every single one of you, and thank you for listening, and I appreciate you and your time, and looking forward to seeing you guys out on the road and talking to you more, too. So
perfect.
That's what we're looking forward.
All right. Well, we obviously at the beginning of the interview here, we played your first single here, Ready for Dead. Is there something you'd like us to play for you to take us out of the interview? Maybe somebody that has influenced you, a band, singer, artist of any kind that, kind of would be representative of somebody that you look up to?
Play Black Hole Sun.
Okay.
That would be great, man.
All right, perfect. All right, Jeff, well, we appreciate you taking some time here on the Classic Metal Show. Go check them out. They are called The Loyal Order, and they've got a debut release coming your way very, very soon. And, once things get back to normal, perhaps you'll catch them out on the road. So, for Jeff, we're going to play something from the Northwest area, some Soundgarden. And, here it is. It's Soundgarden with Black Hole Sun, exclusively here on your Classic Metal Show.